T. Gray and MK, you are now cleared for flight school takeoff.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Is it time? It's time. Whew,
Yes,
great. Let's bring on some other people. Let's bring on some other people. Our school teachers, Yvette Turner, is giving Anna an A for her essay. All right. Awesome. Great job. All right, folks, it is time to talk about closing. Let's bring on our champions. We got Blue Diamond, Jackie Pippins. What's up, BDJP? We got Black Diamond, Desi Leapova, BDDL, and Presidential Diamond with the 8-ball cap, the Elevate at 8 cap, rocking the fitted tee. I'm trying my best to embarrass you, sir. Presidential Diamond, Darren Gibson, PDDG. What's happening?
What's
you
up?
Guys popped on here and made
What's up, bro?
a lot better.
Why are you wearing that shirt?
I'm doing this because I saw your muscles, so I'm trying to work out before I need a little.
I
That shirt, bro.
absolutely love it. David Romero said it's painted on him. All right. So real quick before we get started, hey, give us some top of the ranks here feedback on the 4-day blitz.
This is Jackie.
Well, I thought it was hey, good morning, everybody. Hello, Mr. Presidential Diamond Gibson, my Black Diamond, Miss Desi, Mark, and T. Gray. Well, yeah, it was amazing. I absolutely love it every single day. I believe we packed it out, showed out every single day. We got new business partners, which was definitely amazing. And I think it's a great start of something, just like Mr. Presidential Diamond Darren Gibson stated, that this is something that we should do, every single month, if possible. But my team enjoyed it. We had a contest, doing the blitz. So we had a great time. I mean, it was a war with that contest. So we had a great time. It was amazing.
Same here. I agree with everything Mrs. Jackie said. I think it's a good idea to bring everybody together and because like everybody brings a different energy to the calls. All of the calls were fire. Every presenter is very unique. So I think it was really good. And as we continue on growing, obviously the team will get better to know us, so they know how to pack it out even better. Match personalities. And over to our president.
I think it was good. It could have been great. I think T. Gray and MK, we had some people, we've been throwing a few things against the wall to try to see what sticks a little bit, and they saw that this was a big impact, and I think the next one is going to be even 10 times bigger because some people were kind of waiting, and I understand that. But when we put stuff together like this, we know we're going to explode, and when we get all the diamonds and emeralds together, it's going to be something big. So the results could have been 10 times better if, like you said, T. Gray, if more people participated. But it was. I mean, I think we had maybe 40 people that participated, and or maybe even smaller than that. And the numbers that we had was just fantastic with the numbers that it reminded me of the movie 300, right? A small group that did a lot, and it was awesome.
Yes, absolutely. I'm super proud of everybody. And by the way, why are you guys so good looking? I mean, Jack, you guys.
I was born this way.
All right. You too, Darren. Looking suave and smart at the same time with the glasses. I feel like I want to go get my glasses. Where are my glasses at? Do I have some glasses around here? I got.
Mrs. Jackie, do you have glasses?
I do, but they're upstairs.
Right.
I look as suave as
Mrs. Jackie, you need glasses. Go get them.
All right.
Like okay. Jake had the jackets.
Jackets.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get down to business, everybody. We're gonna have some fun today. So, this is in today's episode of Ask and You Shall Receive. I got a message from Ms. Diva earlier in the week saying, "Hey, you know what? We could use a refresher on closing." And you know what? Perfect. I think that's a fantastic idea. So I've said, let's gather the best closers in the business, Jackie, Desi, and Darren, and come on here and do it. So what I'll do is I'm just going to toss a question out there and just kind of get your best tips. Everybody get a fresh page in your journal. Big, good stuff is about to drop. Let me see in the chat. How many of you are starting to do
I
presentations?
like those glasses.
Oh, she's got her glasses. I can't keep those on. Those are actually readers. Go blind. But how many of you in the chat are actually doing presentations? If you've started to do presentations, put 8s in the chat. We'll just do 8s since Darren's got the 8 cap on and you've got the 8 shirt on, right? So if you're starting to do presentations, put 8s in the chat, right? Okay, cool. Excellent. So here's my first question to the three of you. When you are presenting to a group, what are your best success tips on closing the room?
I think the closing starts with the very beginning of the presentation. I think that's what most people are missing. You gotta set it up the way that obviously they're gonna have to make a decision at the end of this presentation. And I've learned that through Darren, the first couple of years when we partnered up with Ibüüm, we were traveling a lot. So, I got to experience every step of the way. I was literally studying his body language, what he was saying, how he was bringing names up, and because it is art of closing for real. It's like, we are every single one of you, it's is an artist. And you got to let people know that at the end of the presentation they're gonna have to make a decision, because it doesn't take years for you to make a decision if you're gonna invest into yourself like $100, $400, or $1,000. Tigray, you know that before network marketing, I was building the traditional business. And what most people don't realize, it takes a lot of years for you to build a business, and you work for many years without making any money. I literally like sat down yesterday and I was talking to one of my newest girls, and I was like, I didn't make no money the first 3 years. It was literally walking by fate. And here am I got started, with Mr. Gibson, and I got paid within my first month.
We have a similar story.
So I was like, why would I want to, know it all if I can get paid today? I can go back to knowing it all when I learn the process. So, it starts from the very beginning. This is all I have to say. Sorry.
So I totally agree with Desi. So when I'm presenting, it's always ABC, always be closing. When I'm telling my story, most people will laugh and say different things, but I'm closing when I'm telling my story. After it's over, people will come up to me, "Oh my God, I can't believe you. I would have said this, I would have said that to your boss." Like, I'm just cracking up inside, but I'm closing at the same time while I'm telling my story. And then next, what I talk about is our concept is giving back. Our philosophy is giving back. So I share something related to giving back. I talk about when I gave a car away, right? I talk about that, and then how I received another car because I gave that work. Giving back. Our philosophy is giving back. That's how I know I was with the right company, because they believe in giving back. So I'm closing at the same time. So you should always be closing no matter what you're saying during the entire time. I'm always closing. I'm telling a story, and most people love it. They love the story, but I'm closing at the same time.
Yeah, I believe, when it comes to a group, Tigray, and if you're looking for a global business, before I even speak, I kind of scan the room and see how my story needs to be. Your story is going to change. If it's a millennial, younger group, then I'm going to relate to the younger group. If it's an older group, I'm going to relate to the older group. So your story is always going to change based on the crowd. This is what if you want to be a real artist in this industry. And when I share my story, I close out a lot of objections. You notice when I say, why did he bring up travel, Mr. Holton Bugs? No one's traveling in 2020. Trades, I don't want to do pips, dips, and crips. And I share certain things like that. I know it's funny, but it's what people are thinking, so that I can already close out the objection through my story. The story's not for you, the story's for the other person. And I want to already close out those objections through my story, so that after I'm done, they don't have those objections. They kind of relate. It's my job to relate through my story. Your story is all about relationships.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And yeah, and that's what I've been taught too. To take the most common objections, right? And what I want to challenge you guys to do who are watching, write this down. Okay. Make a list of the most common objections that you hear, right? So what are those objections? Let's put them in the chat right now. What are some at the end of the presentation, when people do not join, what are some of the most common objections or challenges that they throw out? Okay.
No money, no skills, no time. It is a
Research.
pyramid. Research,
Talk to my
scam, all of the negative reviews on Google and stuff like that, And by the way, I just want to bring this, this is not, this is not political, but, we have now the greatest way to handle an objection, that we can, through the even through the presentation, obviously, there's a way for you to do it, but, you guys see what's going on here in the States, right? With somebody getting sued and maybe it's going to take over the whole country eventually. We know what's going on. So when we hear, well, we Googled Holton Bugs, and we don't want to do business with, okay. Now we have a great way to handle this objection, because yeah. I'm just trying to be politically correct, but we have a great way to handle this objection. Mr. Donnie.
I think you're gonna need to be more specific, because I don't understand what you're talking about.
All right, so isn't Donald Trump being, is he a felon now?
If he doesn't get it overturned, yes.
Okay, but he was just sued, right?
Right.
So 34 counts. Is Mark Zuckerberg being sued multiple times? Is Jeff Bezos being sued multiple times? And guess what? We still go on Amazon and shop Amazon, and we still use Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is what I usually, insert into my presentations, especially when I do like a private presentations and I have more of a conversation with the audience versus corporate, because when I do present personally, I have a conversation with people, so I make them think. So at the end, when it's time for me to get on a three-way call, I can easily say, let's get you started. I don't even have to have a conversation with them. They're ready to get started. And Tigre, I learned that from you, to handle the objections that I get the most. And I love what Mr. Gibson said, because that is very true. You got to feel the energy of the room. But, when you're brand new to this business, maybe, in the beginning, I used to study a lot of the presentations that were done by the leaders in the company. There's plenty of presentations that you guys can see on your Rank Up, on YouTube, and obviously now you can go back to the presentations that each and every one of us has done in the last 4 days. And even if we've done, presentation twice, they were not the same presentations, because every leader presents differently every single time. It's the same concept, maybe the flavor can be slightly different based on conversations that we had throughout that day.
Mhm.
That goes off of Tigray and Mark. I'm really big on you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. And everybody's going to attract different objections based on where they are in life. When I first started, it was about scam, which none of my friends even knew what a scam meant. You know, they were all just saying what the next person said, and then it moved on to I don't have a lot of money. And then it moved on to now we don't. I haven't heard the word scam in a long time when it comes to my personal recruits. I haven't heard I don't have the money in a long time when it comes to my personal recruits. It may come through indirectly through my business, but it doesn't. We don't attract that anymore because we've changed us. But when we say we customize the presentation, when I'm doing a presentation for, let's say, Mrs. Jackie, or I'm doing a presentation for MK or Desi or somebody else, I always ask them what the audience. Tell me about your environment. Tell me about your community. Tell me about what the concerns are, so that I can hammer it and I can tailor this presentation around what their objections are, if that makes sense.
That makes a ton of sense. I'm going to actually make this little box here. I'm going to say, so make personal adjustments / improvements
Yeah.
so that you don't attract the same objections.
But what Mr. Gibson just said is key, especially like if we are presenting, you telling us what type of people you have on your call, you know, will get you paid. Meaning, if you tell us their background, because my story may not be relatable to most individuals, you know, being a traditional business owner, most people work jobs. So if in this case, I will tailor it, and I may share even Mrs. Jackie's story. So if my story isn't relatable, I bring Marianne's story, I bring Mrs. Jackie's story. Like there's plenty of people that work corporate. But let me tell you about this person. Let me tell you about this person. But when you do share with us or whoever your presenter is, what type of people they have, you know, you have on the call, now you can maneuver and make it relatable, because people don't care about the facts. People care about, how can this help me? How can you help me?
Right.
You know,
and
T. Greg,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, T. Greg. When it comes to where you're typing right now, I never forget my previous company. I was when I was working with the Proctors, I still have. I'm just like you, T. Greg. I got a bunch of cabinets in my office, and it's labeled 2014, 2015, all the different notes that we had. We had something similar to this right here. If people are not screenshotting this right here, no money, no contact, scam, pyramid, whatever the case may be, and then rewriting your story around every single common objection, like this is how we got good. So I never forget, I used to write down every single objection and rewrite my story around that objection. And so that when I went to, like, for instance, I know Carson's on the line right here. The last call I did for him, I said, Carson, tell me about the environment that you have. Man, they're very skeptical, man. They've been hurt. They don't have a lot of money. Awesome. I know exactly what I need to talk about. You can't sell a house to somebody that's looking for a car. So I'm going to make sure I maintain or manage my presentation around the people that is on the call. Okay. It's very important. You're not just on the call, just talking. No, you got to be on the call with the purpose, for a purpose, and make sure that you tailor around the people that's on the call. Sorry for cutting you off, T. Greg.
No worries at all. That was good stuff. That was good, because we're on the same page here. So let's give the folks some specifics. Okay, some specifics that we do. So for example, I don't tend to hear I tend to, like Darren, like you said, you tend to attract the objections based on who you are, right? And because I tend to attract very, very professional people, sometimes you could have that opt out, say, well, I'm already making money. Mm-hmm. So the way years ago, the way I killed that objection, I don't hear that anymore. And the reason why is because I start out my presentation, I say, I want to make sure I'm talking to the right group of people. I just want to see the hands, or in the chat, everybody who still has room in their bank account for more money. I
Mm.
want to know, do you have room in your bank account for more money? Right? I deal with that right in the beginning. And that's why at the end, I don't have people telling me I'm already making a bunch of money. Because they've already self-identified from the beginning. I already killed that from hello, right? So I want to give you guys an opportunity. Let's give people an example of how you could address no money at the beginning or throughout your presentation, or any
I'll
of you,
take that.
anyone. We don't have to go in order.
I'll take that one. So, yeah, I had a three-way the other day, and someone told me they didn't have any money, right? And I always relate it back to me. I'll say, you know what? I know how you feel. Because years ago, when I got started, and they wanted me to write a check for $500 right then and there, and I didn't have the money, right? And I said, one of my mentors told me something that changed my life. She said, you've been working a job for so many years and you can't come up with $500. Something in your life is just not working. How long do you want to have that problem?
Mm.
And so I said, and that changed my life. I went and got that $500. I immediately got started and my life has totally changed. That was the best decision I ever made.
For me, what I would do is I would use a story. I would always use I use T or Jason as a prime example. I'll say, hey, listen, I know a guy that didn't have the money either. He was 18 years old. He was actually in college, and when he saw the information that you saw, he came to me with gym shorts and a white beater on, and I always say a joke. I didn't know if he thought he was on. I'm not gonna say the joke on the call, but I would say a little joke to kind of relate. And I would say, you know, but this guy, he went home and he sold his PlayStation, he sold some clothes, and came back and joined the business. And now the guy, he's done over 200 some $1,000 in my business in 30 days. He's one of the top leaders in my organization. So I'll use one of those stories to relate. I love when Mrs. Jackie said she using it on herself. Sometimes I want to take it away from myself so that I'm more relatable with somebody else within the organization that we've helped. And then if I need to use a different story, I'll use Tier's story, him living in his grandmother's basement, to now he's one of my top leaders in my organization. And I'll just keep going on with just a bunch of stories to relate with their story.
Awesome, fantastic. Just grab one from the list about, how about I throw this one out there? People who think it's a scam or a pyramid scheme, or they're skeptical of the MLM business model.
Awesome.
What are things that you say and do throughout your presentation to help people get past this?
So I can jump on this because I do from the very beginning, I'll usually let people know, hey, I'm not going to teach you something different today, something new that you're not currently doing. I'm only going to teach you how to start getting paid from the activities that you're already doing, right? Because at the end of the day, if we think about it, we do multiple activities, right? If you work a job, right, a regular 9 to 5, and your boss hires somebody else, they're going to have you train that person, right? But who's getting paid at the end of the day? The boss is, not you. Are you getting paid residually from the time that you spent with this person every single month to get, teaching them the skill sets that it took you, what, 5, 10, 20 years for you to learn? No. So you're already shifting, you're just changing the activity so you can get paid. Now, there's another thing, obviously Netflix. I mean, why did Netflix stop sharing passwords? Because they were losing money. So guess what? We're constantly sharing. Hey, Tigray, by the way, did you watch this new series on Netflix? We're constantly selling for other people. We're just not getting paid for it. Same thing with Amazon. I mean, how many of you have seen, especially after 2020, people posting their Amazon packages constantly? Amazon Prime, deliver the same day. So why not build the same concept for yourself? So I do break it down in different ways depending on who I have, on the line. But these are some examples that I, do give because, you know, I ask people and I pause for a second and I wait for their reaction. I don't just, you know, jump and continue on explaining it, but I pause for a second because, and then I will insert myself. Hey, look, you know, I was training people how to, you know, sell for my brand. But at the end of the day, I was the only person who was making the most money. They had limit to how much they could earn. So, you know, and I also give myself as the example of, you know, for the ones that are saying, oh, you know, the one person at the top that makes the most money. And I said, great. So I have a prime example, and I said, I'm so blessed and grateful that I get to be that person to share with you that that is not quite true, because we came into this company when the company was in business for, what was it, 2 years? And I
Yeah.
was able to become one of the top, you know, leaders of the company, you know, within 14 months being with this company. So I said, it all that you've heard is from people that have never made anything beyond their salary. So, you know, these are some examples that I bring to my calls.
I don't really tell T Gray. I've moved away from telling people what actual scam pyramid scheme is, because it ends up doing this. And what I do is I ask more questions, because what I've realized is when people say scam, they don't really literally mean scam. Some people have literally got hurt. Hey man, I got started in this business and someone joined, you know, got me started. I never heard from the person right after I got started. They think that's a scam. They think that, you know, hey man, I put in the money and my products never showed up. They think that's a scam. So you just got to ask more questions, because we get so defensive and we want to turn into Mike Tyson and start punching everybody. And I've been doing this for 10 years now. I understand it, but now I kind of backed away from me telling people what it is to now asking more questions to why do you feel that way, and try to be on their side. I'm on your side. Why do you feel the way that you feel? Because I used to be that person too. I used to say the same. Folks, if you guys used to say the same thing, put yes in the chat. You used to say the same exact thing before you got brainwashed, which we all need to be brainwashed, right? Our brains are dirty and needs to be washed. So before we all got into personal development and got into listen to Mr. Holton Bugs and T Gray and MK and Anand, no, I felt it took me a year and a half to join this business. So I completely understand, but you got to it's okay to be skeptical till you know the facts. And that's why I sit down and I kind of ask more questions on why do you feel that way? And then I want to be on their side, and then slowly but surely move them to our side. I use it like this, the analogy like this, T Gray. When I first started, I wake up every day at 4 a.m. When I first started, I used to wake up in college around 9 o'clock a.m. If I tell you to wake up and you've been waking up at 9 a.m. and I wake you up at 4 a.m., you're going to be pissed off, because I'm changing your behavior patterns. I'm changing your comfortability. I'm changing the way that you live everyday life. What you're doing is you're waking people up out of their sleeping walk, and people don't like to be waking up. You got to gradually maneuver them on your side, and they got to know they're on your side. They got to know that you're on their side by you maneuvering into it. So back then, we used to be Mike Tyson with gloves for everybody. No, now we got to be the person that's going to be on their side and say, why do you believe that? And the question that you ask will tell us if you actually want the result or you actually want the resources to change their life. Some people just want to argue, right? But it's your job to ask the question to see, are you really looking for change, or are you just looking for an argument? That's what I would say.
I like that. I call that the consultant approach, right? And that's really the art and the magic of closing, is to be a consultant, right? You're not, it's like what Darren just said. You want to be on their side. You want to help solve their problem. You want the business for them, not them for you. Right? And when you get to that place, people can feel that. Right? Like that's a common that's a common malady in this industry where people have been sponsored and that or recruited and never got any help from the sponsor. Right? And so if you're a consultant and you're asking the question, I love that question. Why do you believe that? Why do you feel that way? And listen to the answer. Because I was in this company and these people recruited me in, and then nobody helped me, and I couldn't even get anybody on the phone. Okay, well, now you know what to deal with, right? Like a doctor. Then when you go to the doctor and you're sick, you don't just walk in and the doctor comes in the room with a prescription pad and says, "Here, take this." No, they ask you what's wrong. They ask you, how long have you been feeling that way? Where does it hurt? Can you remember what you ate? Did something happen? Right? To go through all of that in order to figure out what is the best course of action to make you feel better. Right? So they're not just writing prescriptions because that's what they want to write. They want to help you feel better. And so the same thing when you're closing, when you get to the point, you've given the information out, whether it's in a group or a one-on-one, now you want to help solve that person's issues so that they can get in. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna keep typing here while you somebody else talks.
Yeah, try to sell a vegan to eat a steak. It ain't gonna happen. It's gonna be. You ever had an argument with vegans, and why we shouldn't be eating meat and all that stuff? It's going to go on and on and on and on because there's different perceptions, there's different belief systems, there's different ways of thinking. But it's your job to see, why do you think that way? What movie did you see? We are in a solution business where we're looking for people's problems. We're looking to see how we can solve their problems and being on their side. Don't argue with them. Argument's not going to do anything. An argument's going to make them hate you even more. They're just going to resent you. So you gotta see how you can be on their side. And then what Desi said, then you can start throwing out some points to argue your point, but allow them to talk too first so that you can kind of have the napkin for whatever they spill on your table.
But can I just enter? So you would allow them when you have a three-way call, right? Versus asking them questions on a opportunity call. You can ask questions on an opportunity call, but you won't wait for them to really talk to you.
No, I wouldn't allow anybody. I wouldn't allow any new people to ask questions on my opportunity call.
Right. So you will have that more of an intimate conversation because we want people to know when to ask questions. Yes, when you have a three-way call, let's say with your upline or one-on-one conversation, you don't want to fight them back. You want to ask questions, but not on the opportunity, or launch call.
Yeah, if you end off your opportunity call saying, "Is there any questions you got that I can answer?" You've already killed the whole call.
Kill a whole call. Stab yourself in the eye, why don't you? Like that's asking for trouble. That's asking for trouble. I want to throw this one out there. This is one that holds people back, right? And I'm talking about the people in our group. They're new. They're not making any money themselves yet. Right? And they're afraid of what happens if someone asks, well, how much money are you making? Right? And I'm going to expand that because we have a trading platform. So how much money are you making from the business or trading? How do you guys handle that as an objection?
This is Jackie.
Oh, so day one, I was making money, right? My posture was making money. I haven't made any money, but I've never had anybody ask me that question, am I making money? Because my posture let them know that I'm doing just well. And I'm talking about day one. It has nothing to do with whether you're making money or not. Most of you all think it's about making money. Listen, I've made great money. I've got a brand new Porsche. You think my family signed up? You think they signed up? They've seen the money. So it has not anything to do with that. It's about your posture, and it's about them, whether they want to make money or not. I'll invite them to a coffee and chart call, right? And you will see folks making money every day on coffee and charts. This is not something that I'm gonna be able to tell you. I am going to show you that people are making money. I'm gonna show you that we have a great community of people making money every single day. We don't guarantee any money, but what we do provide you is with great information. We're gonna give you the tools, and I promise you, we got some knockout strategies so you can win.
I come back with a question after the question. If I've made zero money and I just got started the first week, then I would say, hey, T Gray, I really literally just got started this week, but I'm working with somebody that's done over 200-some thousand dollars in business, or I leverage up the person I'm working with. And through the community, I'm working with a couple of millionaire ranks that's helping me get me to my goal. Do you have any millionaires that's helping you get to your goal? So I'll throw it back to them, based off of the connection that I have and the network that I have. But I'll let them know. I'm not going to lie to them and say, hey, I made all this money. No, I literally just got started, but my money should not dictate how much money you're going to make. Matter of fact, if they're red, then I would even toot their horn. I would say, matter of fact, I brought this to you because I know you'll probably pass me up. I'll make them the star and be on their side.
Yeah, I like that.
I really hope everybody marks this recording, because you got two powerful answers to that just now. Okay. Number one, what Darren just said about how to handle that. First thing that you said was powerful was don't lie. Don't lie. One of the things that Mr. Buggs has taught us repeatedly for decades is this. And I want everybody to write this in the chat. The truth is good enough. The truth is good enough. Network marketers are notorious for exaggerating, embellishing, stretching the truth. The truth is good enough. I'm hearing people saying Holton was making $2-3 million a month. No, he wasn't. It was 1.2 million. That's enough. That's enough. It doesn't need to get bigger. Don't stretch it, right? So number one, if people are trying to make an issue of how much money you're making, don't lie. Don't stretch. I like the way Darren handling goes. I'm new. I'm working with people who are going to help me make the money. Who's helping you make the money? As a matter of fact, I brought it to you because I thought you might pass me up. I thought that was genius. Okay. Number two, I like what Jackie said. She doesn't get asked a question anymore. People don't even ask her the question. You know why? Because that's why I put a circle around that right side. Darren said earlier, make personal adjustments and improvements so you don't attract the same objections repeatedly. Jackie changed her posture. Her posture, her approach is so strong that no one would dare ask her if you're making money. The way she shows up to the presentation. And I remember Holton teaching me this. Even when I didn't have money, even when I was at a low and I'm trying to rebuild myself, I made sure I was clean. I was pressed. I stood up in front of the room with confidence. Nobody ever asked me how much money I was making, even though I was driving a ratty borrowed car and I had to park it 2 blocks away so nobody would see it. You see what I'm saying? So this is a major, major, major point. I want you guys to make sure you go back and check out this recording. Des, you have anything you want to add to this one, or are we going to talk about I need to talk to my spouse?
Sales is all psychological. So essentially when they're asking you that question is one, they don't believe in you. And you should never be afraid of being new to something, because most people cannot relate to success. They can relate to stress though. So, it's, if you share with them, hey, I actually know exactly how you feel because that's the same way I felt, and now I found, this is the way I started making money really fast in this business. The moment I realized I don't need to know it all, and I want you guys to write this down, and that I can pass it over to Mr. Gibson, is the moment I started getting paid immediately. Immediately, not next week, not next month, immediately. T. Gray, I just want to share this with everybody here on the line. I posted in my stories. on Instagram and Facebook. I had somebody in my group text me yesterday a screenshot from what they've earned this last week, which was $372. And that person did zero work in the last month to zero work, and they got paid
How much?
$372. And this person is going through some challenging times in their work, right? Where their boss told them that, you know, they're gonna have to find something else. It's not even they're giving them another position. The bank that they're working for, and now mind you, they have a great job. They work for a bank. You know, they make over $100,000, right? In Europe. So that's pretty good money back there. But the fact that person got paid, built their belief because they haven't done any work. And, you know, I had when he texted me yesterday, when he called me yesterday, I was doing a team call, and, you know, I had her share the story because she's like, I now believe I can actually get paid. I can only imagine, you know, what's going to happen when I do work for my business. And what it really did it for me is when I started with Mr. Gibson, we were part of a different, you know, the different company, but I did get, now this is what moved me. I was embarrassed because I opened up my back office and I had 8 cents in that back office and I did no work. This is what did it for me. It wasn't the money. It was me seeing something there and I did no work at all. So I was like, what if I did do some work? So I used that feeling to go out there and actually do what Darren was asking me to do, because I mean, what did I had nothing to lose, you guys. I was already losing. I was just sharing with, you know, one of my girls this morning how much time I needed to put to make a little bit of money in my traditional business. You know, it was like literally 24/7 and nobody knows what it was. And here, all I needed to do is just, Darren, Desi, can you put me on calls with 2 people? Okay. I swallowed this big ego and pride. I sweated it out a little bit. It was tough, but hey, I don't regret it at all, because ain't nobody's opinion is paying my bills, and your friends and family's opinions are not paying your bills. I want you to ask yourself you know, when was the last time their opinion paid your bills?
T Gray, I was, man, when I was brand new, I had a lot of fun because you get to take the focus off of you, and it was really about the leader that you're working with. My first company, we had something called Frenzy, and my first check was $1,400. So if you did, you get 700 for one, 700 for the other one. You can only Frenzy 3 times. And my second check was 2,100. And all I was doing was just leveraging up my upline, and leveraging up the company, and leveraging up who I was working with, and leveraging up the energy, and leveraging up. I did not put the focus on me. And the problem is with new people, they put the focus on themselves too much, where you just kind of throw it at your leader and leverage up your leader and give them the spotlight. And then before you know it, everyone will turn around and start seeing your results, and they'll want to follow you now. It's just a duplication thing. But in the beginning, I didn't care about them following me. I just cared about them getting them through the system. So I was just leveraging up everybody that was in my upline. And it wasn't just my upline. It was everybody that was in the company, cross line, down line. It didn't matter. I was leveraging up stories after stories. So if they asked me, how much money you made? I don't know, but this guy right here, and I would just throw it right next to this woman right here, Jackie, Mrs. Jackie. We call her auntie. She just earned this portion, and I would completely get their focus off of me for them to want to follow what I'm following.
You know what? That's really huge. I started a new slide because that's a big thing. And what I thought about when you said that, there is that a lot of times by making it about you, you create your own objections, right? So if you know that you have not made the money yet, don't make it about you. Your whole presentation should talk about who you get to work with. You know, I remember you made me think about when I first started working with Mr. Bugs. And that's when I first started saying, I've had the opportunity to team up with some incredible people, some very successful people, some of them millionaires, and they are aggressively expanding their business into your area. They, them. It's not me. The only me was I don't even know how this happened, but they let me work with them. And my approach is really, let's see if they'll let you work with them too. Right? So I thought that was really, really powerful. You know, I want to shift the conversation a little bit. And let's talk about the three-way call. Okay. So, you know, we spent some time talking about how to close when you're doing a presentation, whether that's in a group or in a one-on-one situation. But let's talk about in a three-way call. And you're the three-way call expert that has been called. What are your success tips on closing the deal when you're doing the three-way call?
Number one, I need the other person on the end. Do not interrupt me. Ever. I don't care if I make a mistake or whatever. Don't interrupt. I do have folks interrupting while I'm doing their three-way and they just messed up the whole deal. Now you're the expert, not me. So don't ever interrupt the person that's doing the three-way call for you. That's the worst thing you can ever do.
Yeah, and don't over edit.
I want to tell you what I did one time when I was doing a three-way call for someone and they interrupted me more than one time. While they were talking, I hung up.
I've done that too.
Yeah, I think your signal went out. Yeah, it went out.
It went out to dinner.
I think what Mrs. Jackie has said is key. But also like don't over edify your prospect. Because we've seen that too. Or introduce me as your friend. I'm not your friend. We are getting you paid here. We're getting the company paid. We're getting me paid. We're getting everybody paid. If I'm your friend, then you guys are laughing. But because we're very friendly with our whole team, you're missing the point where we do the three-way call because it's business time, it's money time.
Yep. And if Desi, if you'll allow me to add to that, I would say that shouldn't be the primary introduction, right? For, you know, if I'm using Desi to do my three-way call, I'm edifying her as an expert. I'm edifying her as one of the most successful people in the company. I'm edifying her as a leader in her community and saying, you know what else? I'm honored and privileged to say that she's become a friend, right? If you want to say friend, that's how you do it. But I don't just say, hey, this is my friend Desi. You know, that's not giving her any juice or power with the prospect.
And it just gives you respect too. I thought it was so weird when I joined this company to call Mr. Bugs, and I'm like, I'm calling him HB. And when I realized the respect level, because when you start calling, you know, this is my friend HB, this is my CEO, Mr. Holton Bugs, or this is my leader, Mrs. Jackie Pips, they're not going to ask those questions, how much money have you made? But they will ask those questions, hey, this is my friend Jackie, this is my other gal that I want you to talk to. They will ask those questions. Depending on how you leverage your upline up, or depending how you leverage the person that you have on the three-way call with, will depend on the questions that the prospect asks.
Can we give them some examples? And what would you do, Mr. Gibson?
On a three-way call, I would keep it short. My three-way calls, I often start off saying, hey, I heard a lot about you. I'm excited to talk to you. I don't have a lot of time. I got another call booked in the next 10 to 15 minutes, so that they know that my time is valuable and that we can stay on topic. And And then I would ask them before the three-way call, I would know more information about the person, what they're looking for, if they're looking for trades, if they're looking for travel, or if they're looking for just, leadership skills on how to build a network. I would know automatically what they're looking for my questions to tailor around what they're looking for so that we can stay on topic.
So
Awesome.
one of the things when I'm doing a three-way, you never want to feel like you're being rushed or you're rushing, because if they feel like you're rushing, then they're not going to want to do business with you. So I never have them feel, even if I have something to do, really, I give them that time. The questions that they ask, I'm going to answer each question that they have, so they can make an educated decision. But a prospect never want to feel like they're being rushed or you too busy for them. Right? Because I've had people say different things like that. No, I never, ever make them feel like I'm in a rush. I'm rushing off.
Gotcha. When I want to go back to the first thing that you said, Jackie. You said, don't ever interrupt your expert. And I want people to understand why.
Mhm.
Right? Everybody has, and there's a number of reasons why, but one of the reasons is that every leader that does three-way calls has a flow.
Mhm.
And when you interrupt them, you disrupt that flow. I like to think of it as I'm taking your prospect by the hand like a child, and I'm trying to lead them from the entrance to the park all the way to the carousel. So I'm going somewhere with this. And when you interrupt, you have taken us off the path, right? I'm taking them from hello to sign up. And I'm doing it my way, and my way is different than Desi's way, and Desi's way is different than Darren's way, and Darren's way is different than Jackie's way. And my way might even be different than your way, but you put the prospect on a three-way call with me, let me do it.
Mhm.
That's kind of my perspective. I want anybody, Desi, you sound like you want to say
I
something.
want to take it a little bit backwards because I feel like we're giving them, but like, what is the step? So the step is obviously before you put your prospect on a three-way call with your upline, make sure you give them some feedback on what is this person going after. One, you got to find out what their goals are, where they are currently in life, right? So your upline is prepped for the conversation. Then when they jump on a three-way call, you make sure that you do the, obviously introduction to both parties. You introduce your prospect, then you introduce your upline to the prospect. And then the third thing is once you do that, you mute your line and you have nothing else to say. Right? If you forgot to mention something to your upline, because for example, sometimes I don't do three-way calls. I do not like it. I do Zoom calls because I want to feed off of the person's energy. Like I've seen better closing ratio personally for me when I do, when we do three ways like this, right? Like we can close literally everybody on a Zoom call. Now, if I forget to mention something to Darren, I will message privately Darren to let him know, hey, this person, like depending on how the conversation is going, I will message him privately to let him know maybe something that will help the person to move forward. If I had forgotten to share something with it, but I will never open up my line and say, Darren, blah, blah, blah. No, like he's the expert. He's helping me get paid. And by the way, for everybody here on the line, I still use my presidential diamond to close. Why am I doing that? I can close my people by myself. The reason why is because I want them to see what I'm training them from the very beginning. Okay? I'm training them from the very beginning. Now, when it's time for them to ask me, what do I need to do? Well, can you do what I just did with you?
Well, it's very important. It's very important too. You keep using your upline. For one, they can see how the system works.
Yeah.
For two, the upline is recruiting you should always be recruiting up. You should never be recruiting down. So
Right.
your recruit should always be maturing as you're maturing. So as I'm maturing, Desi's seeing different line of individuals coming in that were not the same people that were coming in last year. So, but I want to go back into the interruption part, T. Gray. If I'm talking to Mrs. Jackie about travel, and that's what she's looking for, and that's what Mark had told me what she's looking for. And then Mark says, "Oh, Darren, but tell her about the compensation plan too." Well, now you just opened up a whole new conversation that's going to take another 25 minutes. And they're going to say, "Hold on, before I make a decision, can you tell me a little bit more about what Mark just said?" You just messed up what T. Gray just called the flow of what we're doing, and we're trying to stay on topic, and we're trying to stay, in the area where Mrs. Jackie wants to be. So remember, we're saying things for a purpose, on purpose. So if we don't bring it up, it doesn't need to be brought up. If we don't say it, then you shouldn't be saying it. So, and that's another thing too. When we hang up, don't bring up all the other stuff too, because now you're opening up another can of whoop-a, and you don't want to do that.
I would never do that.
Talk about that. We're going to talk about that. I want to say this too. I like what Desi said, because I personally believe that the three-way call is a team sport. If you're going to do a three-way call for me, I'm going to put my phone on mute. And if I have something that I need to tell you, I'm going to send you a private text, right? So for example, sometimes your upline is doing three-way call after three-way call after three-way call. I know this because sometimes I can't reach these three. Why? Because they're doing back-to-back calls. I'll call Jackie and she'll call me back 3-4 hours later. Why? Because she's stacked on calls, right? And if you're doing back-to-back calls, it's easy to get them messed up. I remember back in the day when Holton would be doing calls for me, and we're doing calls back-to-back. Sometimes you forget the person's name. We've all done that.
That is very true.
Right? But here's how you know you're really vibing with your upline. You can tell. I know that if I put somebody on a three-way call with Desi, Jackie, or Darren, I know that the way they operate, they would use the person's name. If I'm hearing them talking for 5-10 minutes without saying the person's name, I know they forgot the name. So what do? I text them the name. That's it, right? So remember, it's really a team sport. And so Darren mentioned a minute ago, when they hang up, don't go bringing a bunch of other new stuff in there, right? And undoing the work. What do you guys' philosophy about three-way calls when you actually get off? Everybody's a little bit different, but
I stay online until I get the money in.
Yeah, what we found is what we do is we'll dig up the hole, and then we'll put the seed in, and we'll plant the seed, and then by the time we get off the call, the seed, "Hey Darren, here's a seed. We just planted the seed. You took out the seed, and all you did was just undig what we just digged up, and you just screwed up and now we got to go through the whole process again." So for some individuals, we stay on the line until they make a committed decision. And then as you're maturing and as like Mark and yourself, T. Gray, and Mrs. Jackie and Desi, then we can jump off and then they can make a committed decision. Right. But honestly, if you're brand new, I'm going to stay on the line with the person until they make a decision, until they're in the system, so that the person that I am doing a three-way call with, remember, to learn and earn opportunity, you should be learning and earning at the same time. So you should be writing down all the deals that we're saying, all the jokes that we may say, just everything that we say, all the system deals that we're talking about, so that you are programming yourself for the next person in line that you're going to be potentially helping in your business.
Yeah.
I want to pick.
I understand correctly. You guys are saying that y'all stay on until the person's in the system? JP?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh, most definitely. I want to piggyback on what Desi said a little earlier when she said, give us some kind of information on your prospect so we'll know who we're talking to. That is so absolutely correct. Miss Kia Kinlaw called me about one of her prospects, and she said he played football in college and he's looking to go pro. And I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, great. That's something for Mr. Rod Smith, right? And so we got Rod Smith on the line, on the Zoom, and he killed that three-way. He killed it. But if Kill have not given me his information, then we wouldn't know how to tackle that three-way call. That was the perfect person to do that three-way call, was Rod Smith, because Kill gave me the background of this gentleman.
So he's in football, so now you know how to tackle the call.
Right.
No,
Exactly. Exactly.
I like what Amalie just put in the chat here. She says she stays on that three-way call until she gets the email that signs up saying, congratulations. Oh, and then she says, congratulations on making the best decision in your life. So it sounds like you guys are unanimous. If you're doing three-way calls, especially if you're doing them for newer people, staying on until they're in the system.
Yeah.
Right? Which makes it even more important that you don't interrupt the flow, because that's where your expert is going. So
here's an important thing too. What I do as well, just a little side note, when they're enrolling, if I have another call, if I have another Zoom call, I'll say, hey, listen, I'm going to be listening in to see how to watch Mark get you in the system. I will stop sharing my screen. I'll mute myself. I'll jump on another call, but I'll still be paying attention to see what they're doing, just so that they can see psychologically, okay, this person's still on the call and he's listening in, but they don't know what I'm doing. I'm on a different call, but they can see that I'm on the call and listening in. And then as they get started, when I'm getting them started, here's the kicker right here, T. Gray. While I'm doing this other call, I'll say, hey, hold on really quick. Let me congratulate somebody that's getting started right now. Hold on. Congratulations. Congrats. Hey, welcome. Hey, put them in the chat. Put them in the Facebook group. I'm excited. Congratulations. All right, bye. Hey, yeah, I just had to congratulate somebody that just got started.
Yeah.
Now the other person's like,
oh,
okay, I'm ready.
I love it. I love that. I love that. And guys, I want to clarify one thing, right? So obviously we're going to stay on for new people. But if I bring you a three-way call, Desi, and I'm bringing you somebody that is just really close to me, even I'm the COO of the company, right? And I'm bringing you somebody that's just, they're a really good friend of mine, and I know they're just too close to respect me like that. I might ask you ahead of time when we're setting up the three-way call, hey, I'm gonna need you to stay on until they're in the system for me on this one, okay? Because you might think, oh, T. Gray, he's a COO, he can get the person in the system, right? So even if you've been around for a while and you're in a leadership position, if you have that three-way call where you need your expert to guide them all the way to the promised land, make sure you let your expert know that up front.
Oh, like when it comes down to money, I have no shame to ask Darian to do anything for me. Like, I'm never too big to get paid.
Yeah.
Don't be too big to get paid. I love that. I love that. All right, time for parting shots. Let's go in order. We're gonna go blue, black, and presidential. Jackie, Pippins, Blue Diamond. What are your parting shots for everybody on this topic of the art of closing? I mean, we could do this for another hour, but what are your parting shots?
Definitely take notes of the things that we talked about. You have experts on the line. You got the presidential diamond on here. You got Blue Diamond, Desi, and then you got you and Mark on here. These were some amazing nuggets, and what we need you guys to do is just take action. These are the things that we are doing. We're not just telling you this. We are doing these things, and we want you to take action, because we can talk all day, but if you're not taking the action, you're not doing the things that we're saying. Next week, you asking us these same questions is because you haven't taken action. So we need you all to take actions. We're here to see everybody win. We want you to win. All right. We'll see everybody at the top because the bottom is just too crowded.
Can I share a story real quick?
Absolutely.
Talking to a friend of mine, and he's in real estate, and the company that he's with obviously has a network marketing concept to it. So he's got a team of 200 people. So I was talking to him last week, and it was just like a great prime example that everything you do is all about numbers. So he's got a team of 200 realtors underneath him. Now he gives them leads, you know, I don't know how, in what way, but he gives them warm leads, people that are just, all you got to do is just call them and close them. So here's the thing, in your business, right, you're gonna be dealing with the same exact thing, where you may have a team of 200 people, but like Mr. Bug said, only 5% out of those 200 will do something with your business, meaning he gives leads. Now, Tigray, he gives leads to everybody. All of them have access. Only 9 people out of his team actually did the work to call those 300 leads. And, you know, now they obviously they got to do a little bit more work because apparently their closing isn't as great as, but they only closed 4 people out of those 300 leads that they got. So at the end of the day, you just got to go through the numbers. You don't attach yourself to the no. Like, I don't care. I just got to go. Let's go. Next. I don't care who doesn't respond. I don't care who doesn't text me back. I go on to the next person that will say yes, that will join my business, that will join my Elevate, Trade Buddy, whatever. This is where I gotta hit numbers. So at the end of the day, if I don't talk to people, I don't get paid. So
Amen.
go through the numbers and make sure, like, you know, because some people are coming and asking, you know, yesterday I did a call and I'm like, all right, so what's your goal for June? What is it that you're committing to get paid in June? Because at the end of the day, you get to write your own paycheck. It's not me. It's not Mr. Gibson. It's not Mrs. Jackie. It's not you, Tigre. It's not you, Mark. It's not Mr. Bugs. It's not Anna. We write our own checks. So what check are you going to write yourself? Because, you know, I asked the question, if you don't show up at work this month, what will you get paid? Nothing. Okay, so can you just add a little bit of effort here? Because with a little bit of effort in Ibüümerang goes a long way. It's already been proven. It works. Work works, and laziness does too. They both work.
I never quite heard it that way, but you are right about that.
So you can literally, we've got 7 more months. And I believe right now we're in a place where we're looking for the next line of leaders that are gonna come and lead, you know, with us. And by the way, I know that there's probably, you're getting confused. There's so much confusion on the, you know, I gotta share this with you guys. On Facebook and Instagram, you see all of these people, but at the end of the day, even if you jump ships and you do other things, you didn't do the work here. You got to do the work everywhere you go with whatever you decide to do. So learn the skill set, you know, use the system, use your upline, get paid. You don't have to know it all. Just pass it over to your upline. Or even if you don't have an upline, I'm here to help you guys. I'm not going to say no to if anybody needs you know, a 3-way or whatever. I'm here for you guys to get paid. So, you know, set up a goal, ask whoever you're working with, what do I need to do to make $500? What do I need to do to make $1,000? Because the reality is, I'm just being honest with you guys, whatever your goal is, you're going to have to put in the work.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think the best comp plan story I've heard in a long time is that story you told today. The person who made $378
Didn't do anything.
didn't do anything, right?
Anything.
And that's very, very significant because that means your business paid for itself, turned a profit.
Yep.
No profit, but a profit nonetheless. And you didn't do anything. Imagine what happens when you work it in a focused fashion. Don't tell me it doesn't work. Yes, ma'am.
She triggered something in me. So Desi did. So when you're taking action, y'all, let's get away from these pity parties. Everybody is going through something. Everybody. T. Gray, how many times have I called you and told you my problems, what I was going through? Not one single time. We do not talk about any of that. What we're talking about is how to get paid, how to get more money in my bank account. I do not.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Jackie is telling the truth. Almost. And here's what I'm gonna say: almost, because she does tell me what she's going through after the fact, right? So Jackie and I talked every day in her planning for the Millionaire Mastermind. I mean, when I say every day, I literally mean every day, several times a day, for weeks including the day of. It wasn't until now Mr. Bugs was there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It wasn't until Monday morning, Jackie texted me and said, I got something to tell you. It's going to blow your mind. I'm like, okay. So we get on the phone. So what you got? During the planning process, after she had the cards, the invitations printed up and the Millionaire Mastermind notepads for the luncheon printed up, someone stole her car with all that stuff in it and the t-shirts. Stole it. And it's not a cheap car. It's a nice car. And you know what? You want to talk about no excuses? I was floored. I was flabbergasted because in talking every day, several times a day, I never not once got the feeling that something was wrong. Because Jackie never changed her stride. She never changed her step. She never changed her intensity. She stayed focused on the goal. She reported the car stolen. She was like, and it's funny because Jackie, I've been listening to some YouTubes on Stoic philosophy, and it keeps coming up saying, only worry about the things that you can control. So once the car is stolen, she can't control it. Somebody else has it. She can't do anything about it. Call the police, let them figure it out, and then go and start solving the problems. So you're right, Jackie. I'm sorry to do that, but I got to give you your flowers. And most people never know this. And I think it's one of the most powerful stories because when I look at the things that derail people, it's little things like this, you know? So kudos to you.
Where the
Yeah,
energy
that's what
traction flows. So she focused on the good stuff, and that's why they brought so many people in the business. Obviously God said, Mrs. Jackie, now you gotta drive get a new car.
Yeah.
That next the presidential rank comes with a new self-image, new car.
Yeah, well, they
right.
caught the guys who did it. They were walking down the street writing themselves notes on Millionaire Mastermind pads, and they were wearing like 10 t-shirts each. So they were easy to find. BDG, take us out of here, man. Save us. Save us from ourselves.
No, I would say every time you're closing out of a group one-on-one presentation, you should always give them something to look forward to. That's one of the biggest things that I do when it comes to closing. And I hate the word closing because you gotta we're not selling cars or homes one time. You gotta keep your people in, right? And you gotta I think Desi said something about following individuals. I don't have, remember, people don't quit the company, they quit you. So I'm really big on that. If people want to leave and do something else, then as a leader, like you just said, T Gray, I look at myself. I don't look at the company. I look at me because my ratio when it comes to people sticking in my business, it's amazing right now because I want to better myself. I want to perfect myself. I don't give a damn what happens to this over here on the left side or right side. People are always people follow you. They join because of you. They stay in for many different reasons, and they're going to leave either because of you or different reasons, whatever the case may be. But no, you got to perfect yourself for people to want to remain with you. So if you got people falling by the wayside in your organization, don't blame anybody, but look at yourself. Because I find it funny that when it comes to recognition, we'll take all the recognition, but when it comes to negativity, we always point the finger at somebody else. So you got to take full responsibility. If you're going to take the recognition, then you got to take full responsibility of people, are dropping out in your business and get good, get good to get great, to get better every single day. And I promise you'll have retention in your organization. But I would always leave off in every single group setting, a one-on-one, any business deal that I'm doing that requires people famming them, booking a meeting from a meeting, because people want to buy into the future. They don't want to buy into now. They want to look forward to something. That's why I always say, let's do a 30, 60, 90-day game plan with you. That's one of my biggest deals that I do with them, for them to be excited about something. They want to feel like they're excited about being and joining something that you have promised them. You essentially have promised them freedom. And when you get them in, it is your job it's your responsibility to give them the resources. It's not your responsibility for them to be successful. It's your responsibility for you to give them the resources for them to be successful. And you know, so as a leader, you know, I look at, when I bring people in the business, T Gray, I look at it like it's basketball, it's statistics to me. If I bring somebody in my business, I want to make sure that they're successful, because that makes you look better. It makes you look good. And if you have people falling by the wayside, and Darren, this is what I hear all the time, Darren, everybody keeps leaving, everybody keeps quitting. Well, they keep quitting you. You know, you gotta figure out why they keep quitting you. Because I believe we got now, I don't know how many diamonds we've had in the company, and how many diamonds you have, how many emeralds you have, how many sapphires you have. That makes you look good at the end. So when I bring somebody in the business, I am really coming up with a game plan with them, and I'm saying, I'm serious, because I don't want you to screw up my statistics. Because when this goal that I'm going to have in mind, I need you to be coachable, not chokeable, and do exactly what we suggest you doing, so that you can look good and I look good and the whole team looks good overall. So that's why I always bam fam them to the next deal, making sure they get their next event when they get started. There's a lot of, closing individuals is not just bringing them in the business. You don't have a builder just because you brought them in the business. You have a builder when you bring them in the business, when they bought their next ticket, when they booked their meeting, when they enrolled their first 2 people in the 7 days. You have a business partner when all that stuff happens. There's a proven system that works. You can't just say, I got somebody, got them, they're in. No, they're not in. They may quit the next day. No, you don't have a real legitimate business partner unless you put them all through those 4 different deals, what I just said. And that's when you know that the magic is going to happen. And that's where the duplication and the quadruple and the quantum leaps start happening for you in your income. So I want to end this off because I was supposed to help my sister move today, and my mom, I think she's on the line right now. And I said, Mom, I'm already helping people move. And she said, who? I said, I got a group of people, and they're moving out of Sapphire, they're moving out of Ruby, they're moving out of Rank, they're moving out of Value, and moving out of Income. I got a lot more people I got to move today, and I'm gonna help my sister out after this call, but I got a lot of individuals I got to move. So if you guys are ready to move, just put move in the chat, because I'm ready to move up. I hope that you guys are ready to move up, and I'm excited for the future. And let's go out there and rock this thing. T Gray, MK, Anna, I want to give you guys your flowers. Thank you so much for having this. And I want to say this too as well to end this off. I think it was Mrs. Diva that won this call to take place.
Mm-hmm.
She's already looking forward into her moving into the next leadership role. Listen, folks, you guys got to do the same exact thing. You guys got to go to your leader and say, hey, listen, this is what needs to happen. You guys are your own leaders as well. Do not wait until a diamond or an emerald or a sapphire or ruby to tell you what to do. Like Desi just said, we don't write your checks. You write your own checks. You should be the one that's saying, hey, I'm about to move into this area right here. This is what I need. Can you help me do this? And we love to work with people that get us productive, not busy. I don't want to be busy, because we don't work for just people. We work for value that grows the people and that grows the company all together. Love you guys. Appreciate it, T. Gray.
Boom. And on that note, let's take our picture.
Hey, by the way, T Gray, Miss Diva won that contest.
Yep.
He did.
People on that line every single night. She wore me out. And Miss Diva is one of the best closer in my organization.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Shout out to Miss Diva. This was your training today, Miss Diva.
Put 8s in the chat if you think we're all good looking.
All right, guys, let's on 3. Let's pose and take our screenshot, and then we're out of here. 3, 2, 1. All right, and that's it.
Love you, ambassadors.
Love you guys. Have a great Saturday. Let's rock and roll. It's the White Zone. Let's go.